All right, I've got a treat to share with you guys today. This is the Skiff knives Accomplice and the Culprit, which is essentially a mini Accomplice, if you will. And these both came from my good friend Joseph. And what's cool about both of these is they are very similar in colors. The blue is a bit more vibrant on the Accomplice, which is the big brother. Now, Skiff Knives is in New York. Steve Skiff, I believe he started out making bearings and then evolved into knives. I am not super familiar, and I am by no means an expert with Skiff knives. I've done a few videos on them over the years. I've done an Accomplice video for sure. I've done a Drifter video for sure. I don't believe I've done an Accomplice. So when I was talking to Joseph and we were kind of working out what in his collection he was willing to send in right now and whatnot, I asked him if he would mind sending them both, just because I could compare them both here together, which I think is cool. I'm going to, obviously do that here. I don't think I'll do a separate video altogether comparing them because we're going to kind of talk about them here in this video. All right. Skiff blades are really not my cup of tea. I like them. I think the milling is amazing. And we'll give you a close-up look at this one while I just kind of ramble. The milling is exquisite. And I am sure that throwing this into a CNC is probably not as amazing as I think it is, if that makes sense. You probably program this in the computer and you hit go and it spits out these scales at the other end in, really no time. Like, it's not a really difficult and amazing thing, but to me, I think it really is. The way the pivot collars line up with the milling, I think is just awesome. The way the clip lines up with the scale milling for the most part, I think is very cool. There is a flat spot here under the pocket clip. Now the pocket clip, for me, it works fine. I wish there was a little more of a ramp for the exit from the pocket. Like, it goes in perfectly. In my jeans, it sometimes will kind of hang up a little bit, and I got to give it kind of a tug, not just a smooth extraction. So on the Culprit, it could use a little bit of a ramp. So if we look at the Accomplice, actually, it has more of a ramp for the deploying from the pocket compared to the Culprit. So just a little nitpick. I think I'm very particular and a little nitpicky on my pocket clips. So that's very subjective. So I'm not saying that the pocket clip sucks or anything like that. It works totally great going into the pocket, and it works totally fine coming out. For my preference, it could just be better coming out of the pocket. Okay. I think these are great looking knives. They just aren't necessarily my style. The action is fantastic. These run on phosphor bronze washers. Just kidding. Obviously, they run on Skiff bearings, okay, which are super smooth, super glassy, not drop shut, but controlled shut. I love it. That's kind of my perfect action. And again, that's very subjective. Here is one that is completely drop shut, and that's too free falling for me, kind of guillotine-ish, that I don't prefer. Now, yes, I can fix this by tightening the pivot a little bit. So before you comment that, hey, you're just an idiot. You can tweak that yourself. I know. I don't do that typically because I kind of want the knives to be the way that the maker intended them to be. Here's the accomplice. It's equally controlled shut, even though it's a bigger, heavier blade. Fires with a little more authority because it's got some weight behind it in the blade, and the momentum just really kind of flies out. All right, so size-wise, we're talking about 4.5 inches closed, 7 3/4 overall, 3.3 inch blade with a 3.1 inch cutting edge, 0.013 behind the edge, 0.154 blade thickness. This comes in at CPM 154, weighs in at 4.4 ounces, and obviously runs on bearings, as I mentioned. It feels really good in the hand. I like it. This one kind of is in the category of the Koenig Arius, a knife that I love, that I've owned before and never kept because it just, I like it. I kind of want one, but when I own one, it's like, I don't want it. And then I sell it. So this is kind of in that category. All of the Skiff blades are, because I like them. I think the milling is amazing. The attention to detail is fantastic. I prefer this vibrant blue slightly more than the Culprit. But again, that's just me. That's a temperature thing in the anodizing. I'm sure they could re-anodize that stuff to be more matchy-matchy if that's what you wanted. But this is a great pair. And I am totally into pairs, as you guys know, or sets. You know, if they made another knife that was even smaller, I would want that in this collection. And I've done that before. I have, several knives from the same maker because it's kind of a matching set and things like that. So I'm all about that. There you go. I don't know. What more can I say? I think everybody knows about these. I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts and feelings again on the Culprit. I think the Culprit is a good size. The Accomplice is really a full-size knife. I've done videos on it. I'll put a link up in the corner so you can get all the details on the Accomplice. And it may have been this Accomplice that I have done before too. I just don't remember. I may have done an Accomplice a couple videos. I just don't recall. But this is number 160 for the Culprit and number 196 for the Accomplice. So let me give you a quick couple of size comparisons just because. Here it is with a Sharpie. The Spytocodelica. What else do I have here close by? The RJ Martin Q36SS. And just because it's here, the Vandermeulen Bladeworks Double Homicide. Quite a bit bigger and goofier and completely impractical, but I had to have it. Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a different video. So stay tuned and you'll get my feelings and thoughts on the collecting addiction and hoarding and whatnot. That's coming. So there you go, guys. Check out my other Skiff videos up here in the corner and have yourselves a fantastic, wonderful day.